Darren Rovell here with Will Stern for Collect TV, and we are talking about the John Lennon famous Hootenanny guitar that he used for the Help album and Rubber Soul. Sold for $2.85 million in Julien's on Wednesday. Estimate was 600 to 800,000. Let's start, Will, with this story because we find baseball cards in attics. We find maybe a Millennium Falcon. Do we find John Lennon's freaking guitar in an attic? It is a pretty wild story given what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically the breakdown is this guitar was an early Lennon guitar. He used it in the recording of Rubber Soul and Help, as well as it's in the movie Help. Harrison also played it. Lennon then gave it to Gordon Waller, who was one part of the British pop duo Peter and Gordon.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's Gordon and Peter or Peter and Gordon. Never heard of the guy or the group.
And then it was given to their manager. The manager sticks it in his attic. The manager believes it to be lost. He talks about it for years, lamenting how it's lost. And then recently he's moving and his son finds a guitar in the attic. And, they bring it to Julian's and they do all these sorts of tests and match it to photos from the era. And it turns out that it's one of the most significant guitars in music history, and certainly one of the most significant Beatles guitars.
That's just wild to me. So I was going to ask you next, like, was there a photo match? Obviously, this is different here. With usually with photos of 60s and 70s gets a little bit tough, but if he's playing it, there's pictures. There's definitely unique markings here that you can tell.
Yeah, it was a lot of unique markings, and what was really cool is and I don't know how much truth there is to this, but they even mention, oh, when you hear it strum, you can even tell that so that might be a little bit over the top, but still, there was a ton of investigative work that went into it, and it's really one of the biggest finds of a musical instrument, I'd say, that we've seen at least recently come to the auction block. And
Okay. Yeah, and as this goes, this is not the most valuable guitar. There are two Kurt Cobain guitars up there that we assume Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Murphy purchased. What are those? Smells Like Teen Spirit, and
It Smells Like Teen Spirit, which went for 4.5 mil, and then the MTV Unplugged guitar, which is the top guitar ever sold publicly, and that was over 6 million.
wow, that's pretty amazing. And where do you feel the Beatles are? I have invested in the Beatles significantly, and part of that is based on not only my love for them, but also my love from me to you. No, it's also based on the fact that they continue to be on Apple iTunes, top one or two, right? So they have totally gone across generations. What's your thoughts on the Beatles as an investment? Because I can't believe that probably the single most amazing thing to me in autographs is that the four Beatles, any piece with the four Beatles sign is a guaranteed $8,500, $9,000. That's amazing given that they signed a ton.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to one, the worldwide appeal that they had at the time, right? They were Taylor Swift level, I guess we could say now, right? But
Retro
also,
Taylor Swift.
I mean, I think you can look at, I think each generation has, whether it's a musical act or just a public figure that transcends that generation. And for the 60s, that's the Beatles, and it hasn't stopped, right? I mean, it's not something that you can really see going away. I think parents pass it down to their kids. My parents played the Beatles for me, and I became a huge Beatles fan, and I don't see that stopping.
So the 1964 famous Hootenanny, played by John Lennon, sells at Julien's for $2.85 million For Will Stern, I'm Darren Rovell. Thanks for joining us on Collect TV.